What's up, guys? This is your friendly neighborhood extreme Spidey guy here, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review on David Cronenberg's The Fly. So, the film was released on August 15th, 1986 to positive reviews. It grossed $60.6 million at the box office, becoming a commercial success. Wallace and Doofus worked on the films resulted in them winning an Academy Award for Best Makeup. The tagline of the film, "Be afraid, be very afraid," has been used in many other productions as part of popular culture. A sequel directed by Wallace was released in 1989. So, what's the story for this movie? When scientist Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldblum, completes his teleportation device, he decides to test its abilities on himself. Unbeknownst to him, a housefly slips during the process, leading to a merger of a man and an insect. Initially, Brundle appears to have undergone a successful teleportation, but the fly's cells begin to take over his body. Excuse me. As he becomes an increasingly fly-like. Brundle's girlfriend, played by Geena Davis, is horrified as the person she once loved deteriorates into a monster. So, what are my thoughts on this movie? This movie would have to be my third favorite horror film of all time, behind The Silence of the Lambs and The Shining. And this film would have to be one of the best movies I've seen, and probably my favorite movie from David Cronenberg. Now, I have not seen the original Fly movie from 1958, but I'd like to check it out, like, maybe someday, if I have the time. Jeff Goldblum definitely nailed the performance of Seth Brundle, and he would probably have to be my second favorite performance from Jeff Goldblum behind Ian Malcolm in the Jurassic Park movies. Geena Davis definitely nailed the performance as Veronica. John Geets definitely nailed the performance as Saseth Browns. Joy Balshell definitely nailed the performance as Tawny. Leslie Carlson definitely nailed the performance as Dr. Brent Cheevers. George Chualvo definitely nailed the performance as Marky. And David Cronenberg definitely nailed the performance as the GN psychologist. The makeup is definitely phenomenal in this movie. The acting is very good. The acting is phenomenal. The cinematography by Mark Goldwyn is very good. The ed is phenomenal. The editing by Ronald Sanders is phenomenal. And the music by Howard Shore is definitely phenomenal as well, along with Cronenberg's direction. So the film starts off with a brilliant but electric and eccentric scientist Seth Brundle meets silence journalist Veronica Ronnie Qualify at a Meet the Press event held by Bartok Scientist Industries, the company funding his work. He takes her back to the laboratory of his warehouse home and asks her exclusively document his invention, two pods that can teleport objects between them. When the telepods can transport inanimate objects perfectly, they mutilate live tissue, as demonstrated when a baboon is turned inside out after being teleported. As they experiment with the invention, Seth and Ronnie begin to form a relationship using two stakes, one a control and one teleported. Seth discovers that the machine is creating a synthetic version of a biological material rather than the object itself. He reprograms the system to understand the makeup of living tissue and successfully teleports a second baboon. Ronnie departs before they can celebrate, and Seth worries that she is rekindling her relationship with her editor, Sathis Bronze. She actually left to comfort Sathis about a violent threat spurred by his jealousy of Seth. To publish the telepod story without her consent while drunk, Seth teleports himself alone, unaware that the housefly had entered the transmitter pod with him. He emerges from the receiving pod seemingly normal. After Seth and Ronnie reconcile, Seth exhibits sugar cravings and increased strength, agility, stamina, and sexual potency, which he believes that is resulted from teleportation purifying his body. Ronnie becomes increasingly concerned about Seth's deteriorating sanity, as well as sores on his face and strange bristly hairs growing from a wound on his back. When she expresses her worries, Seth becomes aggressive, insisting that the process is beneficial. He tries to force Ronnie to undergo teleportation, but she refuses. Seth goes to a bar and partakes in an arm wrestling match, leaving his opponent with a compound fracture. He brings a woman back to the warehouse where they have sex. Seth tries to coerce her into teleporting, however, Ronnie intervenes, and Seth throws her out. When his fingernails begin falling off, he realizes that something is indeed wrong. He reruns the teleportation sequence and discovers that the computer, confused by the presence of two separate life forms in the sending pod, fused with the fly at the molecule genetic level. Seth continues to deteriorate, losing body parts along with his human appearance. After several weeks, he reconnects with Ronnie, and reveals that he is becoming a hybrid of human insect, which he nicknamed the Brundlefly. He has also begun vomiting digestive enzymes onto his food, is able to cling into walls and ceilings, and losing his human reason and compassion. Seth installs fusion program into the telepod computer, planning to dilute the fly genes in his body with human DNA. Ronnie discovers she is pregnant with Seth's baby and has a nightmare of giving birth to a giant maggot. She demands that Sathis persuade a doctor to perform an abortion in the middle of the night, but Seth abducts her before the procedure. He begs her to carry the child into term, since it may be the last remnant of his humanity. Sathis breaks into Seth's lab with a shotgun, but Seth disables him, using a corrosive vomit to destroy Sathis's hand and foot, stopping just short of vomiting acid onto his face when Ronnie screams at him to stop. Seth reveals to Ronnie that he will use the telepods to fuse two of them, along with the unborn child, into a single entity to become the ultimate family. During a struggle, she tears off his jaw, which triggers his transformation into a monstrous insectoid human creature. Seth traps Ronnie in the first telepod, puts himself in the other, and begins the countdown. Sathis recovers his shotgun and server's cables, connecting Ronnie's telepod to the computer. Seth breaks halfway out of his own pod, but the fusion process activates, gruesomely alligating him with a chunk of the telepod. Seth crawls to Ronnie and places the shotgun barrel to his head, silently begging her to end his suffering. She tearfully fires, killing him, and falls her knees into despair. The ending is definitely emotional, and and the film is also very scary as well. And Seth Brundle is definitely a likable character, and he would probably have to be my second favorite performance from Jeff Goldblum behind Ian Malcolm in the Jurassic Park franchise. Now, are there any bad qualities I have with this movie? Absolutely not, and here's how I'm going to rate it. I am going to give 1986's The Fly a full solid 10 out of 10. So tell me your thoughts on David Cronenberg's The Fly. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's overrated? Just let me know. And until next time, I'll see you all later.